Hello everyone. Is my screen visible, Pradnya?
Yes, it's visible and it's full screen. Please start.
So I'm Chirag. I'm founder at Rymo Technologies Pvt Ltd. I'm really thankful for the entire Venture Center team to give us this opportunity. I would like to take this opportunity and talk more about our work. Rymo basically stands for three words, that is rediscover your mobility. We want to make rehabilitation more accessible. When I mean rehabilitation, it's physical rehabilitation. And we want to use that as a strong tool it already is to enrich life and make life of people better throughout the world. So basically, rehabilitation is something which is done by more than 20 million Indians every year due to orthopedic or neurological conditions. A lot of them need to undergo physiotherapy, occupational therapy, so that they can get back to their active life and live an independent life. In the last 3 years, we've met 300 plus rehabilitation professionals. And in this course of time, we've realized there are multiple challenges that these people face, both the therapists and the patients. So the top two problems that we identified were, like, even though you know that rehabilitation is the solution, but people drop out in between. People stop complying to the therapy, and most of them are unable to recover completely. They settle for less, and a lot of therapists uh, are there in India, but still they are not sufficient. We have a huge shortage. As per WHO recommendation, we are falling short by more than two therapists for every 30,000 individuals. So what this entails for the patient is, because of more waiting and poor compliance, they are not able to recover completely. They are not able to do what they could do. Uh, and to give you a better understanding of the same, I'll share a small case study with you. This is Mr. Santosh Pagare. We met him at a small physiotherapy camp 8 months back. He was wiring a new internet connection on the second floor, and unfortunately he fell down. An injury which led to left hemiplegia or paralysis of the left side. It's 6 years now, and he has recovered around 75%, but still he's not back to his job. So there's a lost livelihood of more than 10 lakh rupees. His family has suffered, he has suffered. His goal, one of the biggest regrets is he wanted to get married, and that is something which was not possible now yet. So people like this, there are many cases, people who do sewing or tailoring, sometimes they get injured and they are unable to do. We've met people who were train drivers or truck drivers, and they've not gotten back to their job because of an injury or due to a neurological condition or orthopedic condition. So what basically Rymo is trying to do is, we're trying to build a rehabilitation protocol for both upper and lower limbs, so that people get personalized care. They are able to get the right treatment at the right time. So a robotic solution can provide them assistance in the initial phases. It can give them motivation through games, through objective progress tracking, to make sure that they continue with the therapy and are compliant to the treatment protocol, and can also train with resistance to build strength and get back to their active life or their job, so that with minimum changes which are required for the complete recovery of their life. So to give you a better idea, I'll show you a small video of our solution being used and in different rehabilitation centers.
How ventilators providing the support, the same way this kind of provides support to the patients.
So this was kind of one of the very important moments for us, because we got compared to a ventilator. In COVID, we know how important it is for breathing. So similarly, we compared for rehabilitation. Different movements, as you can see, can be done for the wrist, for the ankle, for the knee, for the hip, all using the same machine in a very small form factor, which can fit in almost any rehabilitation center in India or the world. There are games, there are different activities for everybody, which we can, use to train. All of this is quantified and can be shared with the patient and their family members to show them that it's working and they need to continue a little more to get back the life that they deserve. So uh, to give you an in-depth idea how we can kind of empower people to get back to their life, we have simulated various environments. This is one of them, where a lady is trying to stir a pot for practicing cooking. Similarly, we have different environments for driving, for gardening, for packing different objects, etc. Currently in India, there are solutions which are available, but as you can see from this 4x4, we are rightly positioned with the affordability and the high usability. And in terms of features, we don't have a competitor in a similar segment. It's taken like almost 3 years to build the technology around it, make it more accessible and affordable. And we have our patents also pending. Considering the closest solution, which offers multi-limb rehabilitation in different modes, our solution is more than 10 times smaller and affordable compared to the closest imported solution, making it a lot more accessible to the rehabilitation professionals. So far, we have used a solution with more than 340 individuals in 11 different with centers, and some of them are listed. These are in different cities, and we've received exceptional feedback. Patients have visibly seen improvement in the range of motion, the strength and cognition. Uh, the improved engagement, motivates them to come again and again to complete different activities. And 9 out of the 10 patients in every rehabilitation center, once after using the solution, ask for it. And that is definitely important, but a bigger problem that we wanted to solve was to make the therapists slightly freer so that they can cater to a larger demography. And this is something which is happening. Most of the therapy sessions that happen with Rymo are significantly less supervised. A junior staff or a supporting staff can also operate the machine, making the senior therapist free for different other patients. Some of the testimonials that we've received are as follows. All the stakeholders we've spoken to have good words and feel better after using Rymo. And this has all been possible after more than 3 years of efforts. Both Abhishek and myself have been working together since the last 5 years. Right since college, we started this as a project, and now we've come to this level. We have the right set of advisors who are not only involved professionally as therapists or doctors, but we also have business advisors who have personal family members or relatives, undergoing rehabilitation. So we get the right balance of feedback. So far, we've reached through a lot of support from different organizations, government grants, and from different organizations. Uh, Now, in order to make sure that our work is not limited to just a premium urban demography and is available to a lot more people, we've started a new initiative called Get Back to Work. We want to help lower income and people without access to high-end rehabilitation centers, or even smaller rehabilitation centers and clinics who can afford our solution, to get access to great technology for their rehabilitation needs. So in this project, we aim to empower 15 plus rehabilitation centers by deploying 20 mobile devices. This will in turn help more than 100 therapists and uh, 300 plus patients in just a period of 6 months. It will help them get back their physical independence and livelihood, be it cooking or driving or maybe cabling or whatever is required for them by working on different parts of the body. And we'll also help them do this faster because our solution, Robotic, is being proven by various international studies to reduce the recovery time and make it easier to get back to daily living. So far, we've worked with a few organizations in our limited capacity. We've worked with Search Foundation at Gadchiroli in tribal villages. We've done surveys with Paraplegic Foundation in Mumbai. We've identified a few more places where we could partner with, primarily dealing with rehabilitation of neurological or paraplegic patients, uh, where they cannot afford to invest heavily in equipments because of limited donations or resources, and but they have a team which can easily, without friction, we learn our solution and use it regularly with the patients and the beneficiaries. So this is a small glimpse of the camp that we did at Gadchiroli in a tribal village. The smiles is the biggest, gift for us. Validation of our work. More than 50 patients loved it, and we are hoping to deploy one unit there soon. So in this project, in the next 3 months, we aim to manufacture and assemble, procure inventory, for which we would require approximately 1 CR. And this also includes the installation and delivery costs, which are required, and training the rehabilitation professionals in the different organizations. In the next 3 months, we basically help the individuals track the different rehab metrics, help them engage with them on a larger note to ensure that the recovery to back to livelihood is being measured, and formulate this and kind of figure out a way how we can scale it at a larger aspect. So thank you so much for listening to us and our story, and would love to connect for questions and any other feedback.
Thank you, Chirag. Thank you. And I think this is something which you have pursued right after college and taken it all this distance. Kudos for your persistence, commitment. And, I think the design is quite interesting because you have kept it simple, and yet it is doing a lot of different motions, right? Which probably is tailorable also to quite some extent. So that I found very interesting. So I'll request our advisors to pitch in here. Dr. Shankar, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I think that's a very, Chirag, congratulations. I think it's a very interesting concept. So what I understand basically Rymo is doing is that it is providing a range of physiotherapy for various parts, but it also has got a AI-based interface so that it appears, for example, a lady cooking, it appears. Now, what is the business model? I have not understood. Considering the cost is roughly 5 lakhs, am I right?
Yeah.
So I doubt whether individual patients might be buying it because it's rather expensive. So do you propose that it should be kept at physiotherapy centers and people pay per session? I mean, is that the model? What is the business model you're aiming at? Who is your client you're going to sell this to?
So basically, our business model right now is of a capital purchase. So physiotherapy clinics, private rehabilitation centers purchase a device at that price point, and they provide the service to the patients. So we are not aiming for a per session model at this point in time, and maybe we can look at it on a future date.
Okay, so it's the physiotherapy center which earns money by the okay.
By providing it as a service, right? This is something which they would be. So you think this will? By the way, we saw that there were some motions which were rotating, some which were using some kind of a lever, and different types of motions. So can you tell me which are those motions? And they're repetitive, so I presume somebody has to sit and keep doing it for half an hour or whatever it is, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so basically the protocol is set by the therapist. For example, some of the motions that I can show you more, like this is like an ankle motion where you are doing, technically if you say, it's called the dorsiplantar flexion of the ankle, which is very important for walking activities. Then we have shoulder movements like lifting your arm up, moving it sideways, etc. Then for wrist, you can do different activities. There are different movements. And for the knee and hip also, you can do the same. And uh, can you repeat the second part of the question?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to understand what are the different motions that are possible. So how would you do it for the knee, for example? Knee would be of specific interest.
So the patient that you can see sitting on the right, leftmost corner top, so she's actually sitting and lifting the knee up. So it's basically you sit or stand and lift your knee up or bend your knee inwards.
Yeah.
The
So it
fulcrum of
has,
the joint needs to be matched with the attachment's rotating point.
okay, and the main attachments consists of this central shaft and this device,
Yeah.
which will move up and down, as well as have other components which are moving, rotating, and moving sideways, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So, and is your typical training session maybe half an hour, 45 minutes? What would be like?
So it's like 15 minutes to 30 minutes is a typical training session. So generally this is coupled with regular therapy. So a general session is around 45 minutes to 1 hour. So 25% of the time is generally spent on our machine. So
Okay.
some of the therapists use it for longer if like multiple joints need to be trained.
Yeah. Sorry, Dr. Shankar, maybe I interrupted. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, it's just perfect.
Yeah.
So,
So, Niranjan, do you want to comment?
Yes. No, it's a very good solution for the physiotherapy clinics, I think. Though it might be a little bit on the higher side in terms of its expenses. And my concern is whether the physiotherapist will have a differential charging system. If you want to do the exercise on this machine, then perhaps you need to pay more and things like that. And then that charges, whether they will also vary and whether the physiotherapist. So that is only one concern, but that's more of a business model approach. So if the company really thinks of a pay-per-use basis, I think they will be able to deploy more machines quickly in the field. But otherwise, I think technically, as Dr. Premnath mentioned, it is so simple machine incorporating so many different motions. It's a very good device with a good interface. So I really like the device, and I think there is one needs to support it very well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Niranjan. Dr. Panchanathikar?
Yes, sir. It's a very interesting and quite useful innovation. I visualize a large hospital, a busy physiotherapy department, 5 or 6 physiotherapists, and 20-30 patients around. And this machine is sitting there. And that is where it will help physiotherapists, few therapists to cater to a large number of patients. That is where I see value in it. And as I saw, it is allowing various activities, training of various activities that I found very interesting. I need 1 or 2 clarifications. Like, is this going to lock the patient's movement in a particular fashion so that if at any point of time a patient is finding it painful, is there a switch that can be instantly activated by the patient to put a stop to it, just as a safety precaution? That is my one doubt. And secondly, whether you could loan it to a household home where prolonged therapy is required for an individual patient, and what would be the cost of it?
Definitely, sir. Valid questions, and the scenario that you visualize is something which is really important. But in our case, like in 11 centers, out of them, most of them or 10 of them are actually private physiotherapy clinics with smaller people. So small centers are benefiting also, and because they have limited resources. Coming to the first question, we have an emergency switch. You can see the red button on top of the machine. So the therapist or the patient, generally not the patient, it's like any therapist or the supporting staff needs to be there to, kind of press the button. Besides that, we don't have any other button on the device. So just to make it easier and, more visually friendly. The second thing, taking the question in back, we've thought about home rentals and a kind of a model where a patient can, use it at home, but we've not started acting on it because of the different constraints that we have right now. But we have a few patients who kind of used it. Even I used it for my father personally, who got a stroke recently. So definitely something, it has value in that scenario also, but something to explore on a later date.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. I think we are on time. I think so. So Pragna, how are we doing on time?
We are behind schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Chirag, thank you very much. I think we will have to stop here, but all the best to you, and this is fantastic work. I hope we can get you support for some of the things you're planning to do. And definitely, some of the rural locations or other locations where you want to have this accessible and useful to patients, especially to increase their mobility, their ability to do daily functions after a stroke or any other condition like that, I think is really, really important. And it makes a huge difference to their confidence and also their ability to earn their daily livelihood as well. Okay. So thank you very much and keep up the good work. We'll get back to you on this as well. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.